While Santaco is condemning any form of looting, in fact, another statement landing in our inboxes a short while ago. Its members have been helping communities in the Eastern Cape, Tshwane and Limpopo to ensure no looting takes place in those areas. Let's speak to them now. In a moment, I'll be joined by Gabs Mtshala from Santaco's Eastern Cape division, and also I'll be speaking to an activist in the Northwest, that is Thato Molosankwe. But before we get into the conversation, just to give you a sense of how some communities and members of communities are actively championing the cause against the looting and the violence, take a listen to this clip that has been doing the rounds of Thato calling his community in Mahikeng to action to ensure that they don't get involved in the looting. Take a listen.
Zuma, when he was stealing money, he was enjoying the money with his family and children and the Guptas. One understand? Yes. Now, his dogs want to influence us and fight our own and ban our own. Yes. They are jealous because they have destroyed their property. Yes. Now, because we are not destroying our property, yes, they are jealous. They are paying money for our place to be destroyed. They take us for nonsense as but.
So that is the activist Thato Molosankwe, who's has been active on a number of causes over the years from Mahikeng. I'm told that Gabs Mtshala from Santaco in the Eastern Cape, we have a bit of an internet connectivity issue with him at the moment, which is a great pity because they've taken the leadership in that province in responding to the situation. Nevertheless, let's talk to Thato Molosankwe about the situation. So, Thato, you're speaking there passionately in the clip I just played a few moments ago. Give me the context. Where were you when that was recorded, and what was your biggest worry about what was about to happen, and what were you trying to prevent from happening?
When it all started in Mahikeng. Can you hear me, Thulasizwe?
Yes, I can, Thato. Go ahead. It started in Mahikeng?
Yes, it started in Mahikeng. There was an incident whereby I saw people running. Everything was okay. Life was normal. Then we saw a group of people out of nowhere running from a certain direction. I ran to what that direction people were running from. What is wrong? Then I realized that there were people who were trying to storm into a shop of the Pakistani to in an attempt to loot. I confronted them. I started screaming, help, help, guys, we need to act. Our town is going to burn. Let's stop looting. No to looting, no to looting. Amazingly, people joined me, started clapping hands. And then those two guys, actually we saw two, they ran away, and two of them were mishandled. And those two were mishandled. Maybe there were many. Because of my reaction that inspired everyone's reaction. No one tried to do anything. But then we realized that there was information taken rounds on WhatsApp that some prominent members who were in government previously were the ones who were trying to do this free Zuma campaign. Now they wanted to copy what is happening in KZN and Johannesburg and do it in Mahikeng. Then I said no. We stood firm together with Mahikeng people to discourage that.
So in the clip that we played at the start of our interview, Thato, and unfortunately the internet connection lets us down from time to time, but at this moment it's a good connection, and I don't know if you are able to stay steady where you are. In the clip that we played,
yes,
we hear you talking about former President Jacob Zuma. and his legacy, and your reading and interpretation of his legacy and his contribution while he was the leader of government, the head of the executive. Do you believe, were you making those points because in your mind you believe that there's a link between what we are seeing in Gauteng and in KwaZulu-Natal and what you were worried might start happening in the northwestern Mahikeng and the grievances about the imprisonment of former President Jacob Zuma? In your mind, are those events still linked?
Yes, the events are linked. A reason why I am saying that, apparently there was a meeting that took place in a certain village. The name of the village is called Lomanyaneng. It's like 1.8 kilometers out of Mahikeng. So there was that meeting in Lomanyaneng village. It is alleged actually that there was a meeting in a certain pub whereby some people whom I cannot mention their names, that they had a plan to have a pro-Zuma protest in Mahikeng. And then one of the two people actually who were part of the, what I don't know if I should say accused, the people whom were accused to be part of the plan to disrupt Mahikeng. It is our current district municipality and one councillor, but they joined us yesterday saying disputing that they were part of the group that was planning to disrupt Mahikeng in the name of a Free Zuma campaign.
All right, Thato, let me ask you to stay steady. The connection has improved significantly. So if you are in a moving car, can I ask you to perhaps find a place to stop safely? I will come back to you in just a moment. Let me try and bring into the conversation Santaco Eastern Cape's Gabs Mtshala. Gabs, way before we heard from the national structure of Santaco, which we've heard now officially in the statement that they've released, that they will do their best to protect infrastructure such as malls, particularly around taxi ranks where they work. And we are seeing local taxi associations in various areas, Vosloorus being another example. Way before all of that, you in the Eastern Cape were among the first formations to say that this will not happen on your watch in the Eastern Cape. What led you to that position?
Good day, Thulas. Since the introduction or the attack of the pandemic last year, 2020, as the taxi industry here in the Eastern Cape, I would say even nationally, we suffered dearly in terms of losses. We could not transport people because all the levels of lockdowns were keep on changing, but the percentages in terms of passengers and everything else, it has hurt me. And we lost a lot. A lot of vehicles or taxis were repossessed. In as much as the finance companies like your SA Taxi and others gave us a relief, but it was difficult for our people to recover from that. We learned from that, and then we felt that if this year we allow such a situation, even though we haven't recovered from the COVID pandemic, this one is going to be permanent. And we cannot allow that to happen because it's going to kill our businesses. Should we burn down or should we allow people to burn down malls, businesses and properties? It means that we won't have people to transport to those areas. And then we are going to have to close down. And eventually that is going to lead to a taxi violence because taxis that were transporting people on a certain route or to a certain mall would have now to move to other routes because their route has been closed down. And a conflict between the taxi industry is going to come up, and we are going to be blamed by the society once again. So that was the main thing that kept us going.
Sure. And Gabs, if I stick with you for a moment, and Thato, I will come back to you in a moment. Gabs, some would say it's ironic that it's the taxi industry whose voice is rising up to say that actually, at this point, we will take no more of this nonsense. given that, you know, a lot of times your industry is the one that gets criticized for being a law unto themselves. What do you say to that? That the people that would say, you are the people that we criticize for taxi violence, for being a heavily armed industry that takes matters into their own hands and engage in these running battles over routes, but also in terms of the driving. Some people are criticizing the conduct of taxi operators, but yet in this time of crisis in South Africa, it's your voice that's rising up.
With regard to such incidents, Thulas, it's a very unfortunate situation because we come from different backgrounds. And we also need, we also need the intervention of government and other companies to assist us in terms of training our drivers, our taxi owners on our customer service and customer care and how to deal with other people. And I think if we can get training in that regard, such incidents would come down. Another thing is the government contributions in terms of your subsidy. And at the moment, the government departments are helping us a lot, especially here in the Eastern Cape, together with private companies like Toyota and SA Taxi, giving us your PPEs and sanitizers and all those things. However, we feel that that is not enough. We need more intervention from government. And should government be involved more on us, it's going to reduce such levels and such interpretation and perceptions from the community about us. Because our main focus, once we get support, food support from private companies and business, our main focus is going to be on service. It's going to be service oriented. Right. Then you'll never hear of any incidents that are a bit untoward towards the community and the civilians.
Final word.
So basically, that is our approach.
Final word to both of you while we watch the visuals on screen at the moment coming from Alexandra Township, the ministerial visit continuing. You are seeing in your picture there Jacob Mamabolo, who is the MEC for Roads and Transport in Gauteng, but also joined by Minister Fikile Mbalula, who has also arrived there to join. I think we saw earlier on Minister Ronald Lamula of Justice and Correctional Services. Thato, let me ask you a final question then to the rest of South Africa where this looting has not taken place. What is your word to communities in those areas that have not been affected at the moment, but also even in those areas that have been affected? What should be their stance at the moment around this breakdown in law and order? Some feeling that here's an opportunity to gain a few items that I didn't buy, that I've always needed. What is your message?
My message, I will quote Martin Luther King Jr.'s words. He said, once you throw the first rock, break a window, or steal a TV, you are no longer a protester, you are a criminal. So people must understand that it is their responsibility to protect what they have. If you have not yet been looted in your province or town, you are not lucky, you are responsible. So I am encouraging those who have not yet embarked on this malicious behavior, delinquent behavior. They must keep up the good work and protect their area. They must learn from Mahikeng. We are cruising in Mahikeng. We are cruising. The economy is open. It is lovely. You know, business. We are in our reflectors. We are around 300. We are patrolling our streets here in Mahikeng. That is what we are doing. And business people, taxi association, all the shops around here, they are buying food. They don't give us money. We don't want money. They are buying us breakfast.
Oh, no. Yeah. Thato,
lunch
yeah.
and supper. Because,
Thato, thank you.
Thank you.
The network does seem to cut from time to time, But I got your message. You are saying that you are, quote-unquote, cruising in Mahikeng, and the economy is open and businesses are open and running. Around 300 of you are patrolling the streets in your reflectors, and businesses supporting and buying you lunch and ensuring that they support your effort. That is simply commendable, and we want to see more of that in communities around the country. Of course, keeping it within the rule of law as well, not turning to vigilantism in our efforts to respond to this situation. Gabs, Mtshala, let me give you the last word then. We saw loud hailing in various parts and towns in the Eastern Cape, people just, taking the message out on the streets. The basic form of mobilization that political parties use when they want people to vote for them, but never remember to use that when it's time to respond to crises in our communities. It's commendable that we are seeing it in parts of the Eastern Cape, in some towns at the moment. Your word to cities and towns in the Eastern Cape at the moment as we watch these visuals and we see communities starting to respond. How should we approach it going forward in the coming days?
Firstly, Thulas, let me commend the people of the Eastern Cape, together with the taxi associations, Santaco, and taxi associations around the Eastern Cape, about the action that they took to prevent this situation. I want to commend the associations somewhere in Limpopo and other provinces, Northwest, Mahikeng, who followed in taking up a stance, a solid one, against this violence and looting. Appealing to the Department of Labor, UIF, the Department of Transport, First National Bank, as the Eastern Cape taxi industry, for them to release the funding and make sure that we are able to be available even in terms of securing our relationship with them going forward regarding the taxi industry. The taxi industry in the Eastern Cape and nationally is being supported further by the national president of Santaco, who gave us a call and a solid support to say that he acknowledges what we are doing as the Eastern Cape, and what we done as an Eastern Cape opened doors even for other provinces in terms of the taxi industry to defend the society and civilians. So with those few words, we thank even the managers of the malls and the shop owners who supported our taxi drivers who are patrolling the areas and making sure that no further violence and looting takes place. Thank you very much.
Gabs, Mtshala, your efforts are commendable. You are a true patriot. We thank you for that. Rising up at a time when your country needs you to save and salvage what's left of the situation at the moment, and ensuring that it doesn't expand to other parts of the country, particularly in your province of the Eastern Cape. The same compliments to Thato Molosankwe in the Northwest. Let's mention people such as Ntantla in Soweto. You saw them patrolling around Maponya Mall, the people who came out in Tembisa, the people you are seeing in Khayelitsha, the people in Mbombela that you've been seeing, who've been saying this will not happen on our watch.